Venezuela 2009 drops her crown. Apparently, a Miss Universe pageant isn't a pageant without some drama happening. Whether someone forgets a line of their well-rehearsed speech, a contestant simply walks into a swimming pool fully clothed, or unceremoniously slips off the side of the stage, something dramatic always happens. In this case, the drama didn't involve a person as such, but an important item with close links to the pageant, the crown. No, it wasn't lost, it wasn't placed on the head of the wrong contestant, it was simply dropped, and at the worst possible moment. During the 2009 Miss Universe competition, Miss Venezuela, Diana Mendoza, dropped the crown whilst presenting it to the new beauty queen, Stefania Fernandez, also of Venezuela. Fernandez was crowned the 58th winner of the title in a show broadcast live from the Atlantis Paradise Island Resort in the Bahamas. It was the second win for Venezuela in as many years, and the 6th Miss Universe title for the South American country. The crown was said to be completely unharmed by the incident, unlike the previous Miss Venezuela's pride, no doubt. USA Crystal Stewart. Following in the footsteps of her predecessor, Rachel Smith, who had been crowned Miss USA the prior year, Crystal Stewart tripped and fell on her tush during the evening gown competition of the Miss Universe pageant held in Vietnam in 2008. Describing the embarrassing fail as like she was on roller skates, Stewart found the whole incident humiliating. The event made the 13 biggest beauty pageant scandals list, which seems a little over the top considering it was hardly a scandal. In fact, this sort of thing is quite common in pageants. I mean, there are often quite a few accidental trips due to long evening gowns, high-heeled shoes, and the occasional slippery surface. Other contestants are just plain clumsy. The one who simply walked into a swimming pool fully clothed is just one example that comes to mind. Texas-born Stewart tripped on the train of her gown, later suggesting that contestants should consider a shorter dress to avoid the same thing happening. Whether we will see an array of short cocktail dresses as opposed to the elegant evening gowns remains to be seen. But with a video of Stewart's ordeal going viral, it'll be some time before the world forgets about the two Miss Universe contestants from the USA who couldn't quite master the catwalk. 2004 dress falls off. Why this wardrobe malfunction didn't make it to the 13 biggest beauty pageant scandals list, we're unsure. But this incident rivaled even that of Janet Jackson's accidental exposure at the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show where she performed with Justin Timberlake. This show became infamous for all the wrong reasons and effectively gave birth to the phrase wardrobe malfunction. Jennifer Hawkins, who was crowned Miss Universe in 2004, suffered a similar fate but of slightly more epic proportions during a Sydney fashion show in 2004. The former rugby cheerleader was modeling the metallic lace evening dress she had worn at the pageant. During the fashion show, the bottom half snagged on her high heels and simply dropped to the floor, leaving Hawkins standing in her underwear. Following the mishap, the 20-year-old showed more composure than most her age, simply turning and sauntering backstage amid camera flashes and gasps from the audience. Although hundreds turned out to see Miss Universe strut her stuff on the catwalk, they got a little more than they bargained for. Whether they were bothered or not, we're unsure, but all Hawkins had to say was, "It was a pity I wasn't wearing better panties." Clearly, she was unfazed by it all. Dominican Republic. It's difficult to imagine how something quite so dangerous could be overlooked by organizers, but in 2013, a gaping hole in the runway of a non-preliminary event was obviously missed. Health and safety can't have been as big a priority back then as it is today, and one hapless contestant found out the hard way that it's a good idea to look where you're going at all times. Dominican Republic's Miss Universe contestant Yuritsa Reyes took an unscheduled tumble during the swimsuit portion of a runway show at a local mall in Moscow, Russia. Not only did she trip, but the Dominican beauty also fell completely over in dramatic style in front of a packed house. Onlookers could be seen rushing to help, but Reyes collected herself and carries on with the show like a real trooper. Controversy followed when it was discovered there was a gap in the middle of the stage that caused the accident. Whether the contestants were told about the triangular-shaped hole in the center of the runway, we are unsure. Did Reyes simply forget the instructions to avoid it, or was it sabotage? Miss China. Miss China has a degree in fashion design and hopes to one day design her own line of dresses with an internationally recognized brand. And it's little wonder why, given the dress created for her for the Miss Universe pageant in 2012 was clearly ill-fitting. The petite contestant struggled to maintain her composure as she took to the runway in the preliminary evening gown competition and slipped not once, but twice as she crossed the stage. She wasn't alone either. Miss Guyana also tripped as she navigated the stage at the Planet Hollywood Resort Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas during the preliminary competition. Unfortunately, Miss Guyana was unable to save herself and she fell to the ground before regaining her composure, waving to the crowd and heading backstage. Once again, a combination of lengthy ball gowns, impractical footwear, and the pressure of perfection resulted in near disaster, with both contestants left rattled by their accidental faux pas. Miss Myanmar. Clearly uncomfortable in her slim-fitting dress, Miss Myanmar May Thaw resembled a penguin struggling to walk elegantly across the stage in the preliminary evening gown portion of the 2015 Miss Universe pageant.
Everyone has been so supportive of her, so she wants to be sure not to let anybody down.
Her towering wedge-high heels appeared to create further issues as the Miss Universe candidate took a tumble as she tried to walk down several steps. The audience gasped as May landed on her bottom. However, she quickly recovered from her stumble and stood back up, encouraging the crowd to applaud her. She gracefully smiled and continued to walk the stage without further incident, which was fortunate given her uncomfortable attire. Perhaps it's time organizers reconsidered the dress code for these events to help avoid repeat performances. Whoever decided it was a good idea to pair a long evening gown with stilettos and a runway really needs to rethink the combo. These contestants can't even look at their feet whilst walking, as they must walk with their head held high. In my opinion, that's a recipe for disaster, don't you think? Harvey announces wrong winner again. In what appeared to be a repeat performance of his infamous 2015 flub, Miss Universe pageant host Steve Harvey experienced another blunder at the 2019 event. However, this time, it wasn't his fault.
Leaders of today doing enough to protect future generations from climate change.
He called out the correct winner of the National Costume Contest, but the wrong contestant was standing beside him to accept the reward. The real winner, Gazini Janados of the Philippines, was nowhere to be found on stage, and instead, Miss Malaysia, Shweta Second, was in her position next to Harvey. The awkward exchange played out in front of a live audience, with a confused Second speaking into Harvey's microphone, "It's not Philippines, it's Malaysia." A visibly uncomfortable Harvey responded by saying that her name was on the teleprompter and joked with organizers that they had to stop doing this to him in reference to the 2015 mishap. It turned out that Second misinterpreted Harvey's intro, not realizing the winner of the competition would be announced first. Despite the mix-up, the rest of the pageant went off without a hitch, and Miss South Africa, Zozibini Tunzi, was crowned Miss Universe 2019. Hosting the event for the 5th time, Harvey joked about the error in crowning Miss Colombia 4 years prior, saying he had survived it all and Colombia had forgiven him. In fact, when he announced Miss Colombia had made it into the top 20, she teased him, asking if he had read the results correctly. We're all guilty of it. We've all, at one point in our lives, tripped over our own feet, perhaps up or down a flight of stairs, or simply over a strategically placed toy. But if you've ever fallen over in a crowded shopping mall or a busy sidewalk, you might have some idea of how these Miss Universe contestants would have felt when they lost their footing while trying to appear glamorous. I can only imagine the embarrassment.